Hey, y'all, we are celebrating an anniversary here at Black Tomatoes, episode 25. We have a special guest in the studio, and we got some good things to talk about. Stay tuned. Yes, Celebration by Kool and the Gang. That is my song. Hello, everyone.
Does anyone not love this song?
Everybody loves this song. It's Celebration by Kool and the Gang.
I was going to say.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
It's the Jammity Jam. We are back. My friend is laughing at me. We are back for episode 25 of Black Tomatoes, and we have a special guest in studio that we're going to talk to. But before we get to that, what's up, Scott? How was your week?
Not too bad. I saw you 2 times this week.
I was everywhere.
So
I was
that's
doing
very
too much.
nice.
I know. I came in to co-host, co-host.
Yeah, pretty much.
Guest co-host Scott's other podcast here.
It's our podcast. It's not mine. It's ours.
The Los Angeles Online
That's
Film
right.
Critics Society podcast. I came on with 2 other critics and yourself to do that, and then I covered the premiere for Black Panther.
Black Panther?
Yeah, Black
No,
Panther.
you
No,
did
I
not.
didn't. Oh, hello. Black Panther was like 6 months ago. Oops. For Black Klansman, child, they both have black in the title.
Yeah.
What you gonna do? But
and they're 2 of the best movies of the year.
But Black Klansman, and I just wanted to share with the people some of the stuff that we talked about on that red carpet. What was really interesting is that Spike Lee was there. A bunch of people there. Spike Lee was there. John Singleton was there. Denzel wasn't there, though.
Denzel was not there?
Denzel was not there to
Was
support.
Jordan there?
Jordan Peele was there. Alfre Woodard was there. I saw Alfre Woodard. Zoe Kravitz was there. A bunch of people were there. But I had an opportunity to talk with some folks on the red carpet about what their favorite Spike Lee joint was. And this is what they had to say. Roll the video.
Roll the clip.
Roll that
We're live in the house.
Yes, my brother, in the house.
In the house.
Now, I know you've been asked this a lot, but I just need to know, what is your favorite Spike Lee joint? I know they all your babies, but you got to have a favorite.
Well, that's really hard for me to question because I don't look at it since you brought the point of babies. I'm looking at it as baby, look as a family. I love the family.
Absolutely.
And I've been building this family for over 30 years.
Malcolm X is one of the best movies of all time. The one that spoke to me the most was School Days, made me want to go to college.
Oh, I knew somebody was going to ask me that. I love She's Gotta Have It.
I love a lot of Spike Lee movies. I love the Kings of Comedy. I love Crooklyn. I love Delroy Lindo in that movie. If I had to choose, though, I'd say it's neck and neck between Do the Right Thing and 25th Hour.
Malcolm X, no doubt.
Of course it's Malcolm X.
No doubt.
Yes, ma'am.
Black Klansman.
My dad took me to New York when I was 14, and Clockers had just come out in theaters. And one of the 2 highlights of my trip were seeing a real Spike Lee joint in a New York City film theater.
Well, aside from this one, I had a history teacher show me Do the Right Thing when I was in 11th grade, showed the whole class, and it blew my mind. The fact that I get to now work with this guy, I just, I can't believe it. He's a real master of what he does.
I love Kim Whitley. That is my good girlfriend. She is crazy as Betsy Bug, but I just love her.
You did the rounds of that carpet.
Oh, that
my
was
God.
that was like a highlight. I think I must have edited something like 12 to 14 interviews I did. But I got some really good people.
No, that's incredible. You got all the main cast.
I know.
Minus Adam Driver.
And Nakia, minus Adam Driver wasn't there.
He wasn't there.
No, he wasn't there. He did the New York premiere, but he wasn't at this one. Nakia, who helped me out on the red carpet, she got John David Washington. She got Corey Hawkins. She got Dave Chappelle showed up, and she got Dave Chappelle. She got somebody else, too. I can't think of who it is, but she got some good people, too.
And it's all available on Black Hollywood Live.
It's all available on Black Hollywood Live in a playlist called Black Klansman Premiere. So let's just talk really briefly before we introduce our guest about this is our 25th episode of Black Tomatoes. Y'all.
Can you believe we made it?
I can't believe we made it to 25 episodes of Black Tomatoes. This was like my dream. I really wanted to do this. I asked you to come on board with me. You very graciously agreed, and I'm about to cry. And I'm so grateful.
Carla, you know
I know, I'm a
I
big
got
old
your
marshmallow.
back. I got your back.
I'm
Anything
so-
you want. Oh my God.
I'm so grateful that you did. I'm really grateful that you did and that you helped me, and you've taught me a lot. I've learned a lot from you, as I hope has been the case for you.
Oh, absolutely.
And we'll introduce some newer segments and some more fly things and have more fly guests as we go along. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in and watching. And we have secret people watching the show, like Omar Epps, when we interviewed him, said he was watching it, and our special guest in the studio, he was a secret watcher too. So I'll just introduce him. He is best known for playing the lovable dad Carl Winslow on Family Matters. He's also known for being in the blockbuster hit Die Hard with Bruce Willis. And he's also known for being one of my co-stars on Heart of Dixie for 4 years. Mr. Reginald VelJohnson is in the house!
Hey.
How you doing, Reggie?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
Good.
to be here.
It's so good to have you. I just wanted to start out because I did say started out rather talking about Family Matters, and that's how I first became aware of you, is through Family Matters. But I'm just interested to know if you filmed Die Hard on a hiatus from Family Matters, or was it the other way around?
Well, Die Hard was way before Family Matters. As a matter of fact, one of the producers of Family Matters saw a screening of Die Hard and asked me to be in the show. So Family Matters came after Die Hard. So.
Okay. Look at you. There he is with the Bruce. I love it. And how did you get cast on? How did you get cast in Die Hard? Was it just like a regular audition, or was it like some special circumstance?
I was in New York, and I had said to myself, I said, well, this is going to be my last audition, because I had been struggling in New York and trying to get work and whatnot, and I just got tired of it. So I had an interview with an advertising company to write copy. So the next couple of days, I was going to go to this.
You were going to be an ad agency copywriter? Shut up.
Yeah. And so then my agent told me that there's this movie with this guy Bruce Willis. He said,
Bruce Willis.
Well, he was on Moonlighting, and we didn't really know who he was then. And they said, well, go audition. I said, well, okay. I went to audition, and I told them, they put me on camera, and I said, look, this is my last audition, I promise you. And if you give me this job, I'll do the very best job you've ever had from an actor. And that's it. I'm here in New York, and I'm either going to do this or I'm not. And I said that in the film, and then they called me in the next couple of weeks. They called me and told me to come out to California. And I auditioned for Scott Rudin and a couple of other people. And
Scott Rudin been around for a minute, huh?
Yeah. And he said, well, go put him in a cop's uniform. And so they put me in a cop's uniform, and they paraded around for the other producers. And the producer said, well, either you're going to get the job or you're not. And that's it. And so I flew back to New York. And then the next week, they called me and said, well, come back out. We want you to do the role. So.
Wow. I don't think I've ever heard that story told anywhere.
I don't think I've ever told that story, actually.
Yes! We have an exclusive right here at Black Tomatoes. I'm so excited. Now let's flip it back to Family Matters. I know you guys celebrated an anniversary of the show. I'm not sure which year it was. Was it recent? Was it this year? Or
It was recently. It was like the beginning of this year. They did a little celebration, and we all went in and took pictures and stuff and did the whole thing.
I love that. I watched a little bit of it, and I watched where everyone talked about how they came to the project and how special it was for them, and Jo Marie Payton. Can I just say, I know y'all love Jo Marie Payton, but I love Jo Marie Payton too. She was like everybody's mama that's not related to her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's just something about her that exudes warmth and acceptability.
Absolutely. She's just the absolute best. The first time I met her, we knew we were going to be working together. We just looked in each other's eyes and said, well, this is going to be special. And I treasure her. She came to my mother's funeral, and I never forget that. That woman is just the best. Excuse me, getting emotional.
Ooh,
But
we always get emotional around here. Though you are in good
I know.
company.
she's just very special to me, and I've lived with her through 2 marriages, and we're still friends, and we're still the best. I love her. That's what I want to say. So
We love her too.
Yeah.
We love her too. Now, I also know about Family Matters, and I said this to you beforehand, that you may not know this, but I was surprised to know this. Family Matters is the longest running sitcom at that time. It was the longest running sitcom and the 3rd longest running African American sitcom ever made. It ran for 215 episodes and 9 seasons.
I was telling them outside, I watched this show religiously. It was we would watch it at dinner. It was this and Full House back to back. We would sit there and watch it.
TGIF.
And I used to pull my pants up and be like, "Did I do that?"
Yeah.
I just remember it all the time. I mean, this was such a legendary show, such an iconic show, and that's why when I asked you when we were talking outside, I was like, I'm amazed they haven't tried to do a spin-off of this yet because it's so incredibly notable. Like everyone knows
I'm hoping they just
this.
bring back the originals. Let's just they rebooting everything else.
I
Let's
know,
just
I know.
reboot Family Matters.
It really was. It was like a family situation. I mean, Rachel coming to live with her sister and her family and whatnot. It was a very special time for us at that time.
You guys seem very close. When I watched the footage from the anniversary gathering that you guys had, this is one thing I know. You cannot fake authenticity on camera.
No.
You just can't. It's either there or it isn't. And when I watched that footage, it seemed like you guys really, really, really loved each other.
We did.
Like unequivocally loved each other, which brings me to somebody else that you loved on the show who's no longer with us, and I was talking to you about her as well. There's a young lady on the show named Michelle Thomas, and Michelle played Urkel's girlfriend for a little while, and Michelle, unfortunately, I think she might have been like 29 or 30. She had stomach cancer and passed away very, very early and very unexpectedly. And from her diagnosis to her death, it was very, very fast. Wow. Very, very fast. But I was telling Reggie, I met Michelle in New York because Michelle, I must have met her at an audition. I don't even remember how I initially met her. But I met her, and she was on her way out here to do Family Matters and was trying to sublet her apartment, or her house, rather. So she came and picked me up in front of Port Authority, took me to New Jersey where her house was, which was gorgeous. I was like, I would love to stay here, but it was like planes, trains, buses, and automobiles trying to get out there. I'm like, I can't do that. Not if I'm hanging out in Manhattan late at night. It'll be, because at that time, there wasn't a lot of readily available transportation going to Jersey.
Now.
It's different now, but then it was like if you didn't make it over the bridge during rush hour traffic, you weren't getting over there.
She was the sweetest young lady I had ever been accustomed to.
She was an angel. She
was
really
an
was.
angel. She really was. She was. I mean, to play that for her to play that role was unique too because of the way the role was written. She was sort of like a nerd, but not a nerd, and she performed it perfectly, and on top of that, her personality was just. I remember when she came to me one day, she said that she was sick and she was crying and whatnot. And I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say to her, and said that it's going to be all right, But she was this very special young lady that I'll always remember.
And the other reason I remember Michelle is because her birthday was September 23rd and mine is September 16th. Mm-hmm. So our birthdays are literally like a week apart. Mm-hmm. But I'll always remember her, and she was just, up until that moment, I'd never quite met anyone like her, and I haven't met anyone like her since.
Absolutely.
She's just, there wasn't a malicious, mean, unkind bone in her body. It just wasn't. And she was very, very sweet. She was cool. But I would be remiss in talking about Family Matters and not talking about her, about Michelle, or without talking about Rosetta Lenoir, because Rosetta Lenoir played the grandma on the show. And what people might not know about Miss Rosetta is that she was was best known for an all-black cast, being a member of an all-black cast of Macbeth that was directed by Orson Welles. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
That's random, right?
Yes, very
But
random.
Yes, when I did
Very
my
random.
research, I found that out. And that Bill Bojangles Robinson was her godfather. She talked about him all the time, about how he would teach her how to tap dance, how she learned how to tap dance through him. And she would oftentimes show that little the little routine between him and Shirley Temple. She could do that because he taught it to her. So she was special too. And I would be remiss in talking about that show without talking about those two people because they're no longer with us.
Well, I remember Rosetta from Anna Lucasta. I saw her in that before she came to Family Matters.
With Eartha Kitt, right?
With Eartha
And Sammy
Kitt.
Davis Jr.?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember telling her that was my favorite performance of her. And she was just so special. It's amazing talking about these people who are no longer here. You know?
I know, because they're in your heart.
They
They're
are.
in your heart and they're in your spirit
are.
and they live on in
They
your
are.
memory, but they're not in the physical
Right.
realm. But, it's like the Latino community feels if when someone passes away, as long as you speak their name, you keep them alive. You keep their memory alive. So as long as we continue to speak their names and resurrect their memories through conversations like these, they'll continue to stay alive in everyone else's hearts.
That's true. Wow. That's nice to know.
Yes, of course. All right, so now let's switch it away from family members because we getting a little verklempt up in here at Black Tomatoes and flip it to the topic of the day, Die Hard. But before we get into the conversation of Die Hard, I want to show just a little bit of the original trailer because a lot of us haven't seen this and people listening on iTunes probably haven't heard it in years. So let's roll that beautiful bean footage.
And he hasn't seen diddly squat from anybody down here.
Hey, pal, how you feeling?
All things being equal, I'd rather be in Philadelphia. I want blood, and you'll have it.
Only John can drive somebody that crazy.
He's an easy guy to like.
Come out to the coast, get together, have a few laughs.
And a hard man to kill. Bruce Willis, Die Hard.
Got invited to the Christmas party by mistake. Who knew?
So I actually have to ask a question about this. You got to work with Alan Rickman.
Yes.
What was that like?
He was the nicest, most giving person I've ever worked with. When he wasn't doing his scenes, we'd be off camera talking and about his career and what he was going to be doing and whatnot. And I found out so much about what a special person he was. And I was kind of shocked when I heard that he passed away, but he was one of the best people to work with I'd ever worked with. So.
Was this your first big film?
Yes.
This was his first was his breakout
Yeah,
film as
it
well.
was.
Oh, both of y'all experienced that together. That's kind of cool.
That's true.
Did
Yeah.
y'all realize that in the moment?
No, actually, no. But when he was different than the character he played.
Of course, he seemed very mild-mannered.
He's down to earth
yeah.
and quiet, and he loved to joke and kid around and whatnot. But I think he was a stage actor before he became a film.
Yeah.
Yes, as a matter of fact, another tidbit that maybe either one of you don't know, because I'm that chick. So
That's it.
I'm that chick. So he was discovered for Die Hard because the director saw him doing Dangerous Liaisons on stage, and that's how he got selected for this. And after this, he went on to play like villain. Remember him in Robin Hood?
Oh yeah.
Villain. He was hilarious.
What was the movie where he played the alien with the?
Oh my God, Galaxy Quest.
Galaxy Quest.
I love Galaxy
That was my
Quest.
favorite.
Oh my
He
God.
was the best in that movie.
So amazing. That whole cast in that movie,
Yeah.
I don't think anyone has, maybe Sigourney Weaver, but man, everyone else in that
Just the
maybe
best.
the best performances they've ever given. Yes.
Really, I agree.
Now I know that both you and Alan come from the theater. I know that a lot of the script was improvised because there were so many changes to the screenplay at the
Yes,
time.
yeah.
Were any of your was any of your scenes improvised, or was it pretty much as scripted?
It was pretty much as scripted. The director, he came to me and told me to say different things and whatnot, according to the scene. But mine basically was the same. It was Alan's that was changing every day almost.
Oh, really?
Oh God, yes.
I read something about that drop that he does where he goes to shoot McClane and he ends up falling off the building. that drop was real. So him and Bruce Willis did their own stunts, which is
I think
crazy.
he fell about 5 stories. I think.
Yep, it was 5 stories, and they said that they knew they had people drop him. He was on wires, and they dropped him, but they dropped him an extra 10 feet beforehand. Before he was ready for them to drop him. That's why that look on his face as he's dropping, they said that's real because he didn't know.
I don't know if I could have done that. Actually, I did. I did when the scene where Al Powell drives the car backwards and he falls. I did that myself, and it was the first time I've ever done any kind of stunts. They tied me into the car very
securely.
tightly, and I did it, and I was so proud of myself. I did that thing. I'll never do it again, but I did
know
it.
That's right.
It was good.
I mean, it must have felt like so incredible to kind of, your story that you shared with us about how you've been trying to get work, and then you got the role in something that has went on to become a classic, and you as a character, your character Al the cop is amazing because what's missing from a lot of action movies nowadays is that the secondary characters don't really get developed.
Right.
But Al the cop is actually really well developed in this movie. You get some good screen time with Bruce Willis. You get some nice back and forth. We learn about you. Were you shocked, like how much depth your character had when you were reading the script?
Well, no, I was just wanting to get the job done. So I didn't really think about what they were going to do with the character. Whatever they gave me to do, I did.
Yeah.
And as it turned out, it became, an integral part of the movie, and I was very excited. The first time I saw the film, it was at a movie theater around the corner from my house.
Oh.
And I used to go and ask the guy, could I sit in the back and watch the film? And I went like every other night to watch the film.
Really?
I did, and to just to see what kind of actor I'd be on screen, and he let me come in, and after a while, he let me come in for free, and so I just sit in the back and watch and listen to and just respond to just listen to how the people responded to the character and what I did. So it was a learning experience for me.
So it's been 30 years since you've done this. What do you think is the obsession with this particular film? Because not every film has legs like this. Not every film has these kind of anniversaries where people are like, oh my God, it's the such and such anniversary of this movie. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Did you get to go to the event that they did for this movie?
Yes, I did. I went. They were like 3,500 people there, and I did up and did a little speaking and whatnot, and then they showed the film. I didn't stay to the film. I've seen the film 1,000 times. I didn't want to stay. But we did answer a few questions.
Of course you did. You saw it free.
Oh, well,
Every day at the theater around the corner from your house. So I guess you probably seen it more than 1,000 times.
I'm telling you. But it was a very good experience. I thought that the people still love it. I mean, they really, I don't understand why people love it so much. It's a unique experience for me, I don't.
You know what? One of my theories is, up until that time, it's kind of like an unlikely buddy film because of your character and Bruce Willis's character.
Right.
Because of the cop and the guy, and because he's an everyday dude. He's just an everyday dude that is caught up in something extraordinary circumstances.
Absolutely.
So, and you're an everyday dude that's caught up in extraordinary circumstances, but your character has an extraordinary job.
Right.
So you guys actually have something more in common than not.
Right. Absolutely.
I think that's what it's the relationships that people
between
are
the two. I think you're right. Him being able to survive after shooting the kid with the gun and whatnot, and having to deal with his emotional things that he had to deal with, and then having to find a friend or somebody who could understand in Bruce's character was unique, I think.
Because he was a cop too. He was a New York City cop, and you were a Chicago cop?
LA cop.
LA cop. So, which brings me to another piece of tidbit info. So I did not know this either.
She's with the Jeopardy facts.
I know. I am the
Jeopardy
I am
facts.
that chick. So the Nakatomi building is actually the Fox building.
Yes.
That big tall one. I didn't know that. And they were actually constructing it as y'all were filming the movie, right?
We got stuck in the elevator.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes, we did. I think it was the 50th floor. The elevator was going down and just stopped. And I was in there with John McTiernan and a couple of other people. We're in the elevator, and we were like, well, what's going to happen? We had to wait for about 15, 20 minutes before it started again.
Oh, no.
It was a little frightening, but
a little?
we got through it, yeah. It was weird.
Well, speaking of your character, Al, and you mentioned that he shot a kid, he does convey to McClane at some point that he shot a kid and he's a little gun shy at this point. Swinging it back around to the current climate, do you think, how do you feel about all of these unarmed kids being shot down by cops like dogs in the street?
Wow,
like
you went really heavy there.
I mean, you know, we don't know what the circumstances are behind Al shooting this kid. They never really say. He just mentions very briefly off the cuff that he shot this kid. We don't know what happened. We don't know why he shot the kid. We don't know who the kid was. And it wasn't about Al shooting this kid. It was about McClane coming out of this building alive with his wife. That's what, and his daughter. That's what the film was about. But I'm just interested to know, since you did play that type of character, and you do play cops quite often, or used to more often than not. Yeah. How what are your feelings about that?
Well, first of all, it's a tragedy, you know, and to think that a police officer is faced with a situation where he has to use his gun or not, you know, it's an incredible thing for even him. You know, it's incredible to have to say, well, I have to either shoot this person, make them stop or whatever, you know, I have to do this. And I'm not going to say that cops are always going to do the right thing or in the right situation and make the right choices. It's a very difficult thing to have your gun on somebody and have to shoot them, I'm sure. And any cop that has done that or has gone through that is probably still dealing with it today. You know, it's a horrible thing to have to take a person's life, you know? And I'm not saying that they're right or whatever, but what the situation was. I'm sure they make mistakes all the time. But for a cop to actually have to use his weapon is a heavy thing. And I don't know if I could have done it. I really don't.
Now, bringing back to Die Hard, at the end of the film, Al does have to discharge his weapon, and in him doing so, he ends up saving McClane. So what do you think, or what was your thought process for you as that character to make that moment work for you, to discharge, you know, because he's clearly somebody that has issues about discharging a gun, but
Absolutely.
when he had to do it, he did it.
He had to do it. I mean, that was an integral part of the movie where he had to make a choice to save his friend's life or not. And, you know, having to deal with his gun again is a heavy thing for a cop, I'm sure, you know. And so I had to go from there to actually have to fight. And I was actually scared of firing that gun.
I bet you were.
Oh, I was, because it had to.
It pops back, right?
It certainly does, and I had to use it, and I had to, you know, perform the scene, and it was hard, but I did it, you know.
So you did the first one. You did the second one too, didn't you?
Yes.
Did they just come? So after the big brouhaha over the first one, did they say, you know what, we want Al come back for the second one?
Well, yes, Joel Silver, God bless him, told me that I would be a fool not to do the sequel. That Family Matters was a terrible show, and I should leave the show and come do his movie.
Oh no!
Yes.
He clowned your day job.
Oh wow!
That's
so
harsh.
I thought about it, and I said, well,
dang.
What if Die Hard 2 is not going to be a hit? What if, and then I'm stuck without a job? These people gave me a job, so I'm supposed to say, well, screw you all. Now I'm going to do this movie again. I had to say no. And Ed was not happy. Joseph was not happy with me for turning down this movie. So I did the 2 scenes. Got paid for it. Did the 2 scenes, and you know, moved on. And that was it. You know, if I had the time, I would have been in the entire movie. But I didn't have the time to do it. I only had to do the 2 scenes, and that was it.
It was, you know, and it's funny because you probably made the right decision, obviously. Yeah. Well, you didn't probably. You obviously made the right
9
decision.
years of work for an actor?
But,
Yeah, that was the right decision.
Not only just because of Family Matters, but also because that is, until the recent ones, was always considered the weakest one.
Yes, absolutely.
So, you know, it was, the first one was the iconic, you know, classic.
And then they hired Sam.
That's right. And then, and then Sam did that.
Sam Jackson, Samuel L. Jackson.
And I haven't shared this story with either of you yet, but
dish.
When I Die Hard, my mom and I were very connected through film. She believed very much in my passion of movies. She's the reason I'm sitting out here right now is because she always believed in me to, pursue my dreams. And we would always watch movies. And some of the movies that we would always watch because she grew up with Stallone and Schwarzenegger and stuff like that. She always grew up on action movies. So we watched them. But when Die Hard came out, we would sit there, just like how you went into the movie theater, every night. We would just sit there and watch it on repeat. And this is how I know the second one's not good, because we skipped over the second one, and then we watched the third one on repeat.
Right.
Yeah. So, but yeah, and
I understand. I didn't like the second one either. So.
He's like, truth be told, now that it's 30 some odd years later.
I did it, and we moved on from there. I think it's four films, 4 Die Hards, I think it is.
Five now. Which brings me to my next point. Thank you, gentlemen. So I read in the news this week that Bruce Willis is contemplating bringing Die Hard back. And they're going to call it Die Hard Year One, casting a young John McClane. So I want to know from you guys, do you think this is a mistake, or do you think it will revitalize the franchise? Reggie?
Yes, you need to speak to this.
They haven't asked me to be in it, so I really don't have much to say about it.
Automatically, it's down a notch.
I don't know. I think that Die Hard, if it's, I don't know. I don't know because there'll be millions of people who will go see it, of course.
Yeah, of course.
And but whether or not if it's going to be a good thing, I don't know. I think that when I heard that Sam Jackson was going to be in it, I thought that was going to be a mistake. But I don't know. Who knows what
audiences resonate with? Yeah,
it's so strange.
I'm
going to Australia next month. No, next month I'm going to do the sequel or whatever they're doing. Crocodile Dundee. I was in that.
Oh yeah, you were in that one too. Yeah.
So they're doing something. They're doing a sequel to it or some kind of things that I go to Australia for about a couple of weeks.
I love Australia. What part are you going to? Sydney?
Melbourne.
Oh, I love Melbourne.
Is it really? I've never been there. So.
Melbourne is like New York City.
Really?
You'll love it. They have a lot of theater there.
Okay.
You'll love it. It's really, really nice.
I just want to hold a koala. That's all I want to do. If I can just hold a koala and take a picture, that'll be fine by me. Yeah. But I'm going to go do that, and who knows what may happen. And they're doing these sequels and whatnot, so...
Is Danny McBride still in that, or is that the joke that he wasn't really in there?
I don't know. I really
because
don't know.
There was like this whole thing with that they did this like Super Bowl commercial for it, and then it got so much hate on the internet about it. Is Hugh Jackman in it?
Yes, he is.
Okay, so maybe they are making it a reality.
What's her name? The girl from Greece. What's her name?
My Big Fat Greek
Olivia
Wedding?
Newton-John?
Yeah, Olivia Newton-John.
Oh, Olivia Newton-John. I thought she said my
She's
big...
Greek. She's Greek. She's not from Greece.
Right. So my scenes are with her and whatnot, so we'll see what happens,
Oh, very nice.
That is hilarious.
I heard Hugh Jackman's like one of the nicest people on the planet.
I heard this, yeah.
So
yeah.
I want a full report.
We shall see.
I will. I'll come back and I'll tell you.
Yeah.
All right. So now to switch gears from Die Hard to the current situation. So Reggie and I actually met on a sitcom, dramedy, whatever you want to call it, for the CW called Heart of Dixie, HART, Heart of Dixie, where he played Dash. And he was like the town thespian.
It was a little.
He was like the town thespian, and there were more shenanigans in Bluebell, Alabama. Somebody was always breaking out in song or dance, and we had more crazy costumes. Look at that crazy costume of Reggie. That is crazy. The one where you got on like the pirate's hat and the little shiny jacket.
Right. Oh, God.
I have crazy ones of me, too, but I'm not showing them because this ain't my interview.
See there? Okay.
Because I played Susie. I was the
You're
town
on the hot seat, apparently.
Yes, I was the town hairdresser. But I wanted to know, I know how I got cast, and I'd be more than happy to share it. But I want to know how you got cast as Dash.
Well, I went in for one episode. I went to and then they kept bringing me back. I went, he wasn't even a character that, he wasn't, what am I trying to say? He wasn't a character that was really written into the show until after I had done it. And they said, well, let's keep bringing him back. And I guess they liked what I did, and they kept bringing me back and whatnot. And I think I ended up doing like 50 episodes, I think it was.
Yeah, you know, Heart of Dixie was good like that because the same thing happened
Yeah.
with me. So
Yeah.
same thing happened with me. I went in and I auditioned, I played Susie, and they just kept bringing. They did that with everybody. We had a really large recurring cast on that show, huge, but people were always breaking into song, and it was just. Remember the show we did where Mallory and I can't remember the boy's real name, but he played Tom Long. Wanda and Tom got married on Halloween. Do you remember that episode?
Yeah, I remember that
where
episode,
they dressed us up? So you know how much I hate horror movies. They had all of the special effects makeup artists come from like all of those horror films, and they came and did us up as zombies. I couldn't look at anybody else.
Oh God!
I couldn't look at myself in the mirror. It was a hot, buttered mess. But Heart of Dixie was a lot of fun, and we did that for 4 seasons, right?
Yeah, it was on for quite a while, and you know, as the character developed, as the show developed, the character developed as along with the show, and it was interesting for that to happen. I hadn't really experienced anything like that before, and you know, it was fun to do that show. It really was. Yeah. Sorry that it's gone.
I'm sorry that paycheck is gone. That's what I'm sorry about.
Tell me about it.
Oh, really? But what I'm not sorry about is that our showrunner, Lila Gerstein, when Heart of Dixie wrapped, she went on to be one of the writers on Claws, starring Niecy Nash.
Oh, yeah.
And she left Claws to go write for The Handmaid's Tale, for which she won an Emmy this past Emmy season.
Yeah. Wow, that was a good decision. That's for sure.
Great decision.
Yeah, so
well,
yay,
I mean,
Miss Lila.
I was surprised that Claus actually made it.
I love that show.
But I feel like there was no real buzz for it. I mean, Handmaid's Tale, like when you heard about that, I mean, it was like it was an event. It felt like, you know, Stranger Things
Nash
or something.
was in it. That's all I needed to know.
Really, her character developed into something that people wanted to watch.
Yeah.
You know,
She's incredible.
Yeah,
though.
she really is.
I love her. She is like, I don't know. She looks like a black like Mae West or something, because her little waist is like this, and she's got those hips and booty
those nails.
I'm like, she's got the body to die for.
Yeah.
I'm like, girl, what do you do? Do you bottle it? Sell some to a sister over here. I just need to know what it is. Please help a sister out. Well, Reggie, what you other than Crocodile Dundee going to Australia for that? What else are you working on?
Well, as far as I know, I'm supposed to do this movie with Jack A. But that's not really. I don't really much talk about because it's not really set yet. So I'm just out here doing what I do, you know, and trying to make it work. That's all. And anything that comes along that's special, I just go to it. I'll go right to it. So.
I know that's right. And you now, correct me if I'm wrong. You're a native of New Orleans, right?
No, I'm a native of New York.
New York. Why do I think you're from New Orleans?
Well, you know, I did a show. I did a show at Toulouse Theater called Staggerly.
That's why I think you're from New Orleans. That's what it is.
For it was 3 months we were there, and it changed my life. I think New Orleans has become my favorite city now of all time.
Really?
Oh, I could get lost there. You would find me with a Dixie beer in my hand in some bar somewhere, you know.
Just held up by the wall.
Don't you know somebody? I had a wonderful time in New Orleans.
That is hilarious.
Restaurant suggestions for me, because I'm actually going for our 5-year anniversary, me and my wife.
Nice.
Dookie Chase.
Dookie Chase?
Dookie Chase. Dookie,
Dookie, like Dookie Chase.
Oh, Dookie Chase.
Okay. Chase Dookie. Dookie Chase.
Okay.
That's the place to go.
Dookey.
Best
Chase.
place.
Best place?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And if you want to just chill, go to Cafe Du Monde, have some beignets and coffee. You'll have a wonderful time.
Okay. Every time anyone goes there, it's like you go into a food coma. That's what I've heard.
Oh, yeah, and you got to get a hurricane.
Oh, you have to have a hurricane.
You got to have hurricane.
Once you have one, you're going to have another one. So.
I don't know about all that. You know,
if you have two, they're going to drag you out of there.
Let me tell you something. I couldn't even get through a quarter of that bad boy. I was like, ooh, Lord.
Okay.
They have the bread pudding in New Orleans, too.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Oh. I can't wait. I can't wait.
When do you go?
We're going October. We're going the 9th until the 13th.
Nice.
Yeah. That's after Mardi Gras, isn't it?
Mardi Gras in February.
Yeah. Oh, February. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. You'll still have a great time.
But still before Halloween, because I figured that it's going to be really crazy down there for Halloween, too, because I know all the haunted tours and whatnot.
When I went down there, and the most amazing experience was the Black Indians. They have their festival, and it's just a big field of it, and they make their costumes. They all make their costumes and whatnot, and it is the most wonderful experience I've ever had in my life, where you just go and you deal with the I mean, and when they make these costumes, they spend their whole life making these costumes.
Yeah.
And they go and they wear them and they parade around, and it's the most wonderful thing. So I'm going to go back. I think I want to go with you when you go.
He going to go with you on your anniversary.
Right. Hi, Reggie.
Well, I'll be in dinner. I'll say, how are you?
No, but it's
you
a
were
wonderful
right.
town.
This place is great.
It's great. Have another hurricane.
Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to close out our discussion with one last little tidbit of info, excuse me. So Boots Riley, the director of Sorry to Bother You, has called out foreign distributors because, and I quote, even though we're outperforming other movies, distributors are claiming black movies don't do well internationally and are treating it as such. Riley, who made his feature directorial debut with the film, wrote this on Twitter, and he said that there are films that are bombed and they distribute those. So he wants to know what's up. How are we feeling about that?
Yep. I agree.
I agree.
I want to know what's up, too.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Y'all are funny to me.
I do.
Well, Mr. Reggie, this hour has flown by. I think he's like, really? It's time to go
Really,
already?
it is.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that you came.
I'm
like, I
happy to be
literally
here.
asked him. He said, oh, yes, I watch it. It's really good.
Yeah.
Y'all should take this on TV. But I thank you so much. It means so much to me that you took time out of your Sunday to come and hang with us for an hour.
Anytime. I would
love
to
you
be
so
here.
much. And as far as I'm concerned, you can find me across all social media platforms at the Curvy Critic. You can also find me next week at the General Hospital After Show at AfterBuzz TV. And of course, you can always find me here at Black Tomatoes every Sunday, 5 o'clock with my boy Scott Menzel.
You can find me right here on Black Tomatoes. I'm going to say it right this time. Sunday at 5 p.m. Watch it Sunday at 5 p.m., even though you're watching it right now. Sunday at 5 p.m. And I am also doing our LA Online Film Critics Society show, which is a weekly show here, and Carla was on there, and she'll be back again in a few episodes later. And you can find me at WeLiveEntertainment.com. And can I just say, it was just a pleasure and an honor to have you here.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you so much. I had a great time.
All right, next week, y'all, we will be talking about crazy rich Asians and some other crazy stuff. We don't know what it's going to be yet, but it'll be something.
Alpha.
So, Alpha.
Did you see Alpha yet?
No, but I will.
It's good. It's really good.
We'll talk about that.
Spoiler.
Until next week, love, peace, and hair grease. Deuces.
From executives Keven Undergaro, Dario Kristen, Tiana Hobson, and the entire BHL staff, we would like to thank you for supporting Black Hollywood Live, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. For questions and comments, contact us. info@blackhollywoodlive.com. Like us on Facebook, tweet us, or Instagram us at BHL Online. And I am the official voice of Black Hollywood Live, Scipio. Instagram me at KingXOBay. Thanks for tuning in.
Hollywood Redefined.
The views expressed here are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.